Oops. Almost forgot. We're good. Yeah, that's fine. Oh. Hold on. Give me a second. Gotta get the music. I don't want any of this. I don't want you to... Alright. I don't care about any of that. Alrighty. Let's get the music going, baby. That's not how you spell new. I don't know if you knew that. Get it? New. Okay. Copy. Excuse me. It is not the Dover Demon. Hello, Ash Doom. Welcome. Welcome. New, and new. How loud is this? If the music's too loud, let me know. I think it might be, actually. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Yeah, that's usually whereabouts we have it. I want to edit this. How do I edit this? Edit video. Here we are. Okay, so this is all good to get rid of. Change. Whatever. It's not the Dover Demon is the point. Number 4. I don't know what it is this time, as always, so we're going to keep it that way. And just make sure that the tags are all set. Yep, it's good. Save. Nice. Alrighty. And go back here. Channel. I don't want that, actually. Why am I doing that? I don't know. Alright. Let me make sure that we are up and running on the app. Can't see anything right now. Give me a moment, please. Alright, there we are. Very good. Very good. We still have 2 minutes. How is everyone tonight? How you doing? Oh man, I'm destroying this water. Let's get up the Cryptids wiki. Alright, there we go. Okay. Yeah, we've been tackling a few of these here. We're getting pretty good for week number 4. We had that one intermission week where we didn't actually go into any specifically because we were trying to figure out what Cam Blue saw. Which, by the way, actually, Alright, first off, I need to get off auto rotate for my phone. There we go. Now I can put it down like that. Let me plug Cam Blue for a second here. So, Cam Blue, who's been on this podcast a few times. I know it's 8 o'clock. We'll get there in just a second. But Cam Blue has released, far as I'm aware, the last album under the moniker Cam Blue, or at the very least Cam Blue's ending. You can find his channel here. It is a very, very impressive album. It's an album, 17 songs. He's got a full-on freaking music video to go along with it. It's wonderfully created. It's amazingly done. It's just, I mean, it goes from beginning to end. It's a gorgeous piece of work. The songs are absolutely amazing. It's truly something. It is truly something. And I highly recommend anybody and everybody who wants to listen to some sort of indie rap, go check out Cam Blue. Give them support. Again, this is the end of the road. It's for now some sort of finale on either the name or whatever it is. And set them off with a bang. So that is my plug for my friend who has been on the podcast and helped me out a lot during the years. So Cam, this one's for you. Now then, it is 8 o'clock. How are we doing tonight, chat? Lord Shax, welcome back. Ashdoom, welcome back. Anybody else, welcome and or welcome back. We are the Whistlers. This is a weekly podcast every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to roughly about 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We take a look at one specific cryptid, look at different accounts, try to see if we can't make some sort of conclusion about it. We previously have looked at the Dover Demon. That one I actually, and at the end I usually give my own take, and obviously I encourage everybody in the comments and the chat to give their own take as well. The first episode, which so far has been one of my absolute favorite videos I've ever done, was awesome. It was Dover Demon. It was this cryptid, little creature, alien-like, probably ocean, aquatic type creature living in Massachusetts. And then we looked at Cam Blue and one of his experiences that he had. And last week we looked at the demon dogs, and we looked at the Beast of Bray Road, which are likely the same creature. The first one, the Dover Demon, personally I believe in it, at least to an extent. There were a lot of nuances. You should definitely watch the video if that interests you in the idea of these kids seeing a random creature. And then Cam Blue probably saw some sort of ectoplasm, ghost phenomena. I honestly, I racked my brain even afterwards, and I just couldn't figure it out. And then last week we looked into the I just said it. Well, some sort of Dogman. We looked into the Dogman and the Beast of Bray Road, and that one, I think it's overhyped. It's just whatever. I think it's just some sort of creature with strong back legs. It's not a Dogman. The only thing man-like about it was that it walked on two back legs. If that's the case, like I said, my cat's a man then, because I see plenty of times my cat will be chasing something and running on its back legs, because it's like trying to reach up and hop it. Like, come on, man. Come on. It's ridiculous. So, but that said, we are here. We are looking at a new cryptid. I don't do any research into any of these. Every week it's something brand new from the get-go, and we are going to treat it the same exact way. Now, there are a lot of cute ones here. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, Dogman, thank you, Ashum. It just escaped me for a little bit there. There are some pretty cute ones that I'm, to say the least, I am interested in looking at, because, I mean, we've got, cryptids that go from the, the stereotypical Loch Ness Monster, and Bigfoot, and the Yeti, to the Loveland Frog. The Ninjin. Look at this guy. Are you telling me that this is supposed to be scary? That face right there, that's scary? Look at this. Look at this little man. Cute. We got things from, there's Bigfoot. So, why don't we just choose I should really get a random number generator, shouldn't I? And every week just remove one. I think that'd be pretty cool. But for now, let's British big cats. I mean, and that's the other thing too. Some of these just go into territory of it's not really cryptid. It's just weird. It's unusual for that area. So the fact that it's on the cryptid list is, I don't know, it's a little weird. But I digress. We don't really have a starting point here, so why don't we just choose one? Unless, Lord Shax and Ashum, are there any that you two would like to see done specifically? Since y'all are in the chat right now, live, is there anything that you would like to see? I will say I'm going to hold off on the big ones, Skinwalker, Bigfoot, Wendigo. I'm just going to hold off on them. I'm going to save them for, milestones, I think. you know, 10th episode, 20th episode, 50th. That'd be cool if we can get to like 50 episodes every week. You know, like a whole year worth of this. What would that be? A 52nd episode? 52 weeks in a year. Lake Baikal. Alright, you got it. Where is that? How do I spell that? Oh, it looks like it's not on here. Oh, B-A-I. Okay, sorry. I could have just used my eyes, but apparently I'm too lazy for that. B-A-I. Let's just do lake. Let's find this one. Lake monster, lake monster, lake monster. B-A-I-K-A-L. Huh. Why did I open up the calculator? Lake monster. Now that one go away. Okay. Let's do K-A-L. No. Is that not on the list? I'll happily... Wait a minute. That looks familiar. Did we look at that last week? Lake Baikal? Something about that seems familiar. Lake Baikal in Russia. Rift Valley. Was there a certain cryptid involved with Baikal? Cryptid. Humanoids? Humanoids. Humanoids. Okay, is that what you might mean, Shax? Okay. So, really? It's more of a mysterious lake that is teeming with ancient life and a serpent god lives in it. Oh. Then I'll just look up Lake Baikal. Wow. Okay, that's a heck of an opener to tonight. Okay. Well then. Why don't we take a look at Lake Baikal? I guess I'll just... And fish people. I mean, you can't have the world's oldest lake not have fish people. I mean, you gotta have fish people. History, research, economy, ecotourism, blah, 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 blah. Huh. Alright. So, I guess in that case, the thing is, I don't know... Does that actually work? That's pretty cool. I've never seen an interactive side thing on the Wikipedia before. Why don't we start with Lake Baikal mystery? No. Let's start with Lake Baikal. Let's just learn what Lake Baikal is. Let's go into a little bit of the history before we get into the mysteries. History, mystery. Drink water, kids. But don't crash it on top of your head. That was done for comedic effect. I'm not a professional. Leave it to me. Okay, Lake Baikal. So, this is from the Wikipedia. And I don't know. I don't know anything about it, so let's just jump right in. Also, I just want to say, I notice on streams it's very clear whenever I'm looking down. I have the stream running on my phone because otherwise I don't know OBS that well. Enough to have it where I can see my phone's dying, or I could see the comment section at the same time as I'm streaming on my screen. I'll have to learn it one day, probably off stream one of these weeks. I'll look it up. So whenever I look down, I'm looking at my phone, so I can keep up with the comments. Just wanted to make that clear. It seems odd whenever I see myself looking down on my screen on the stream, so I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, Lake Baikal. Or Baikal. Baikal? Baikal? Well, I'm going to stick with Baikal. Let's... Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. We may have a guest here. Hold on. Oh, am I not on the Discrew? I'm so dumb. I forgot to join the call group. Hello, this is Ashdoom, everyone. This is Ali. He was gonna join us. I am the blonde and forgot to join the call, which that's my fault. Ali is here. He's usually here every week, so that is my own stupidity. I apologize. I'm sorry, Ali.
It's okay.
Yeah, you're every
just sharing your screen so I can see that.
Yeah, every week you're welcome to the stream. I just wanted to make that clear. I mean, there are obviously days where I'll like just forget to join, like today, because I'm dumb. But yeah, no, there's never like an invite needed for you to join. You're just automatically assumed to be on. So anyway, Ali, everybody. Okay, so Ali, we are looking at Lake Baikal and cracking my back, and essentially it's just the world's oldest lake, and I guess there are a lot of mysteries around it, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Yeah. I don't know any of the mysteries. According to lore checks, there are like serpent god, there are fish people, there are other unexplainable things, ancient life. I mean, it's the world's oldest lake, so if there was something mysterious, it's going to be there. It's oceanic, or at least lake life, so whatever. Yeah. But let's just do a quick read through on the history of Lake Baikal. Get a little bit caught up with it, and then we will go from there to the mysteries. This feels more like an SCP sort of thing than it is an actual cryptid, but that's kind of cool.
I like that. If I get more stuff like this, like a whole area is mysterious, I will definitely start doing that too, because that's interesting. I like that idea.
So
that's pretty cool.
All right, let's go. So Lake Baikal is a rift lake in Russia, stimulated. I hate myself. It is situated in southern Siberia between the federal subjects of Irkutsk Oblast. I'm gonna butcher all these. Hope you're ready. To the northwest, in the Republic of Buryatia to the southeast, within 23,615.39 kilometers cubed of water, or 5,670 cubic miles of water. That's a lot of water, basically. Lake Baikal is the world's largest freshwater lake by volume, containing 22 to 23% of the world's fresh surface water. Really?
A huge amount of water.
That is huge. We're talking nearly a quarter of the world's fresh surface water. Wow. That's unreal. More than all of the North American Great Lakes combined. Yeah, wow, that is shocking. It is the world's deepest lake with a maximum depth of 1,642 miles, or 5,387 feet. And the world's oldest lake at 25 to 30 million years, at 31,722 kilometers squared, or 12,248 square miles, slightly larger than Belgium. Wow. It is Lake Baikal is the world's 7th largest lake by surface area. It is among the world's clearest lakes. Lake Baikal is home to thousands of species of plants and animals, is where we're interested in. Many of them endemic to the region. It is also home to Buryat tribes who raise goats, camels, cattle, sheep, and horses. On the eastern side of the lake, where the mean temperature varies from a winter minimum of negative 19 degrees Celsius, or negative 2 degrees Fahrenheit, to a summer maximum of 14 degrees Celsius, or 57 degrees Fahrenheit. The region is to the east of Lake Baikal, referred to as Transbaikal Shore, or as a Transbaikal, and the loosely defined region around the lake itself is known as Baikal, or Baikalia. Baikalia, I like it. Baikalia. UNESCO declared Baikal a World Heritage Site in '96. Yeah, I don't blame them. Thing's freaking huge. All right, geography and hydrography. Okay. Lake Baikal is a rift valley created by the Baikal Rift Zone, where the Earth's crust is slowly pulling apart at 636 kilometers, or 395 miles long, and 79 kilometers, or 49 miles wide. Big.
Lake Baikal has the largest surface water of any freshwater lake in Asia at 31,722 kilometers squared, or 12,248 square miles, and is the deepest lake as well. We already read all this. The bottom of the lake is 1,186.5 miles, or 33,893 feet below sea level, but below this lies some 7 kilometers, or 4.3 miles of sediment, placing the rift floor some 8 to 11 kilometers, or 5 to 6.8 miles below the surface, the deepest continental rift on Earth. So this is the world's oldest, pretty much the world's biggest, one of the world's deepest, if not the world's deepest, and has. What did we just read about the there's a lot is the point. The deepest continental rift. So there's a lot going on here. In geological terms, the rift is young and active. It widens about 2 centimeters, or an eighth of an inch per year. The fault zone, that's a lot. The fault zone is also seismically active. Hot springs occurred in the area, and notable earthquakes happen every few years. The lake is divided into 3 basins, north, central, and south, with depths of about 900 miles, or 3,000 feet, 1,600 miles, 5,200 feet, and 1,400 miles, or 4,600 feet, respectively. Fault-controlled accommodation zones rising to the depths about 300 miles, or 980 feet, separate the basins. The north and central basins are separated by Academian Ridge, while the area around the Selenga Delta and the Bogoltikia Saddle separates the central and south basins. So it's divided into 3 separate basins. That's I feel like it's gonna be important when we start putting down like mysteries that are going on here.
There's a lot of complicated words too.
Yeah. So there are a lot of zones as well. The north central basins are separate. I read that. The lake drains into the Angara, a tributary of the Yenzi. Notable landforms include Cape Riddi on Baikal's northwest coast. Baikal's age is estimated about 25 to 30 million years, making it the most ancient lake in geological history. It is unique among large high latitude lakes, as its sediments have not been scored by overriding continental ice sheets. Russian, U.S., and Japanese cooperative studies of deep drilling core sediments in the 90s provided a detailed record of climatic variation over the past 6.7 million years. Longer and deeper sediment cores are expected in the near future. Lake Baikal is the only confined freshwater lake in which direct and indirect evidence of gas hydrates exist. There's also gas hydrates. There's a lot of unique things about this lake. The lake is surrounded by mountains. The Baikal Mountains on the north shore, the Barguzin Range on the northeastern shore, and the Primorsky Range stretching along the western shore. The mountains in the taiga are protected as a national park. It contains 27 islands. The largest, Okon, is 72 kilometers or 45 miles long and is the third largest lake-bound island in the world. The lake is fed by as many as 330 inflowing rivers. Alright, so there's a lot of rivers as well. The main ones draining directly into Baikal are the Selegna, I can't say that. I can't say any of these. The Baragunzin and the upper Angara, the Turka, the Sarma, and the Snezhanya. Yeah, first try. It is drained through a single Naya. You know what? I tried. The Angara.
They're really hard words. I don't know.
They are. These are brutal. Regular winds exist in Baikal's Rift Valley. The Koltuk blows southwest, and the Verkovik blows north or northeast. That sounds like Makarov from Call of Duty. It's just like Big Doe Game. In addition, transverse winds blow locally and over shorter distances. The Sarma, named after the Sarma River, blows northwest in the autumn through the Sarma Valley in the Strait of Okon Island. The Barguzin, named after the Barguzin River, blows northeast in the spring. Alright, water characteristics. So, I mean, yeah, this one, there's not a whole lot that we haven't already read. They get to like 61 degrees Fahrenheit. The main section, 68 to 75. They're deep and big. The average surface temperature has risen by almost 2 degrees in the last 50 years. I mean, it's hot and cold. Yes, no, in, out, hot, break up, kiss, we make up, blah, 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 Paula Abdul. Fauna and flora. So Lake Baikal is rich in biodiversity, hosts more than 1,000 species of plants, 2,500 species of animals based on current knowledge, but the actual figures are believed to be significantly higher. More than 80% of the animals are endemic. So the flora, what kind of plants do we have here that these creatures can be eaten? The watershed of Lake Baikal has numerous floral species represented. The marsh thistle is found here at the eastern limit of its geographical range. Submerged. Oh, jeez, I'm not even going to try. These are all science names. So there's a lot of stuff. We were talking about mushrooms and invasive species and Cladorfa, Ulthorix. They're fancy. All right, I don't know. There's a lot of plants is the point. Mammals. Okay, so the Baikal seal is endemic. There is a wide range of land mammals that can be found, such as the Eurasian brown bear. Oh, I love brown bears. Eurasian wolf, red fox, sable, stoat, elk, wapiti, reindeer, Siberian roe deer, Siberian musk deer, wild boar, red squirrel, Siberian chipmunk, marmots, lemmings, and mountain hare. Until the early Middle Ages, populations of the European bison were found near the lake. So we have everything from chipmunks to bears, to deer, to reindeer, to even at one point bison. That's a lot of biodiversity. I'll tell you what. 236 species of birds, 29 which are waterfowl. Although named after the lake, both the Baikal teal and the bush warbler are widespread around in eastern Asia. So a lot of different only 65 native fish? Wow. Okay, yeah, all of that. These long, thin, translucent fish are about 1,640 feet in the water. And vertebrates and crustaceans, snails, aquatic worms, and sponges. So, alright, and then we got some history. This is probably more about, like, the people around it, which probably is important, but I think I'm actually going to skip this for now until time needs us to go back to it. And then we have the research and economy, ecotourism, and everything else. So, alright, environmental concerns. Chinese owned bottled water plant. Yep. Other population sources. Historical traditions. Alright. Cool. So long story short, it's very important. And that was your 15-minute history lesson of the day, everybody. Who said learning can't be fun? So now we're going to go to Lake Baikal Mysteries. And here's where the fun part of this podcast comes in. Alright, the strange Lake Baikal mystery. 3 mysteries and myths. Yeah, so there's plenty to go around here. So let's start at the top, which is coolinterestingstuff.com. Or learnrussianlanguage.net. I'm going to go .net. Only because my 50-year-old computer teacher in 4th grade told me that .net is safer than .com and more trustworthy. So I'm going to do that. And number 1 is Dragon Kings. Yeah, it's something like .net is certified by an organization versus .com, but then you can like get a .net as a private citizen. I don't know. I don't understand how it works. I used to know, but then I didn't use it. I learned in college. College, everybody. It's useful until you don't use it. All right, so there are at least this is just stuff we already read. There are at least 3 mysteries surrounding Lake Baikal and are quite entertaining. You can also read Baba Yaga, the Russian folktale witch, and history. Interesting. Okay. So now, why are we the Whistlers podcast? Here's why. Number 1, Dragon Kings. Situated in southern Siberia is where Lake Baikal hides its secrets. As it close to China, English, one mystery that surrounds the lake is related to dragon. LearnRussianLanguage.net, and in the first 3 sentences, as it close to China, and one mystery that surrounds it is related to dragon. Not dragons. Dragon. Okay. People in some Asia countries, not Asia, like, okay, learn Russian has to learn English. Korea and Vietnam believe that dragon is the most powerful creature living on Earth. They believe that there are 4 dragons which live in 4 seas. They are brothers which rule seas in 4 cardinal directions of the world. Those seas are the Indian Ocean, South China Sea, East China Sea, and Lake Baikal. Displaying as a story, there are some Chinese travelers saying their impression of meeting a god of the lake. Okay. Burr Yate legend also mentions this creature. They name it. Oh, okay. So we have a name, Water Dragon Master. According to the legend, Bogatir Horodoi was chasing a water dragon. At last, he visited the largest Baikal island of Olkhone, and there he met the beast. However, the beast then turned into a beautiful girl. They got married and had kids. Wow, that was a very mental flashbang. So there was a story how this guy went chasing a dragon, and then he went to an island, and the dragon turned into a girl, and then they got married and had kids. And then the beret people are the couple's descendants. Okay. That was a lot at once. But okay, I'm with you still, somehow. Adding to the story is that drawings of the creature along the Baikal cliffs. The drawings of the water monster was estimated around 3rd to 9th century BC. The drawings show the standing creature that looks like a giant lizard, having a forked tongue with claws. Moreover, beret people say that the creature resembles a giant sturgeon, a prominent snout and armored plating along the back. Okay. It hurts.
The water horse.
Yeah, the water dragon. Yeah, water dragon. It hurts. Yeah, that was like, boom. Okay, they lived, got married, had kids, happily ever after. The guy pulled a donkey from Shrek and did a dragon. Okay. We're on the same page. In addition to the water dragons, a legend said there was a fire-breathing deity. Huh? The deity disguised as a dragon that lived deep in the lake. It controlled all creatures living in the lake. Moreover, its mood affected the prosperity and even the life of people who lived surrounding the lake. Wow, they're not holding back on this website. The legend said that when the first stars were lit in the sky and the great sun rose above the earth for the first time, a golden chariot descended from the sky. Then the dragon came out of it. When it came, its powerful tail blew 3 times. The first blow made the Rocky Mountains fall apart and form a deep crevice. Then the second blow created the lake. It first melted the ice at the peak of the mountains and now becomes a water containing the lake. Meanwhile, the third blow covered the area with rich vegetation. Thus, the living creatures started inhabiting the area. After that, the fire dragon made the lake its earthly home. The legend continues saying that the dragon came to Earth every 120 years. When the dragon came to visit the lake, people who called themselves the Sons of the Fire Dragon held a celebration. During that time, they would make abundant sacrifices to honor their deity, as it seems everyone did in that day. As time passed, however, people forgot the tradition. They no longer held such celebrations and sacrifices. Thus, when a deity came for the visit, the deity was angry. The anger shook the land. Soon the water of the lake flooded, and the land destroyed all living things surrounding the lake up to the ocean. Thus, the end of the Sons of the Fire Dragon. Alright, so we have just a dragon, just straight up water dragon, just like having kids with a guy. Now we have a fire dragon. This one's a bit more understandable. Just created stars and the earth and made Lake Baikal. And the 3 is UFO because why not? We always need a UFO in these, right? Yeah, literally Dovahkiin. We're just talking about Skyrim at this point. But, okay, number 3. This is great.
Wait, are we talking above water or in the water?
I think both? I don't know. It's confusing. Okay. UFO. Sure. Some of us may think that UFO is just a fake story, but in Russia, the traces are everywhere. Local resident in nearby Shida village, Valerie Rudenstov, said that she and her 12 friends, bruh, I'm lucky if I have 4. 12 other friends was there on the 17th of April, 1987, about 12:20 a.m. Okay, never saw a time done that way. When one of the guy called the rest of them while pointing out at the sky, there, 150 meters above them, hang a saucer with diameter 70 meters. How could they tell it was 70 meters? Oh, goodness, excuse me. The moon shone so bright that they could not deny what they saw. Moreover, the weather was so quiet until there only the noise of a dog barking and the lowing of cows. Is that supposed to be mooing? I don't know. However, the saucer did not cast a sound. Then the plate slid away in silent, sailed along the shore of the bay and slipped into the hills of Olkhon. Another event occurred with more witnesses. Local residents surrounding Lake Baikal, Vasily Timovi, said that the saucer diameter was 30 meters and it shone so brightly she could not see it clearly. Meanwhile, Margarita Saibikova said that there came down 3 people in yellow, shiny, shimmering costumes from the plate. Marina Zimerva, who also witnessed that there were people coming down from it, said that they were straight and slender. Okay. I'm sure they mean like tall, not modern day straight. They also had legs and arms. Then, as those creatures saw them watching, they immediately returned to the disc and flew away. There are 3 those are 3. Okay, so Dragon aliens. According to learnrussianlanguage.net. Alright, so there's that. I guess. Siberian Times. Okay. Is this a legitimate news source? This looks pretty legit. They have an advertise with us advertisement, advertising. So I'd say we're pretty on the right path. What are these? Okay, this is a mock-up. I was gonna say, are these real photos? Because that does not look real. Now this is an article in half. I just want to see if, for all intents and purposes, what is this? What?
That looks very disturbing.
That is something else. Alright, so we have an actual news source here talking about actual mysteries with the lake. So this is more what I was looking for. Okay. Aliens and UFOs at world's deepest lake. Curious reports of extraterrestrials pulling Steven Spielberg to Siberian jewel Baikal. Here we go. Since ancient times, the vast Lake Baikal has been known as deeply mysterious, but in the closing years of the Soviet era, in sense, it has been the location of a number of alleged sightings of aliens and UFOs. Initially, these were covered up by the authorities of the USSR, but later they were revealed by the Russian media. In recent days, there have been unconfirmed reports. Oh, why can I not stop yawning? I'm sorry. Unconfirmed reports in Russia that American director, not dictator. Can you imagine Steven Spielberg was dictator? Oh my god. Director Steven Spielberg is planning a documentary based on those weird and unexplained accounts. At the time of writing, this appeared to be a hoax. It was unclear who planted stories in Russian media. Before that, when was this made? 2015 in March. Okay, so this is a while ago. True or not about Steven Spielberg's interest, the lake is perhaps the biggest focus of UFOs in Russia. Okay. The versions of extraterrestrial activity at Baikal, edged by mountains and containing 1/5 of the world's unfrozen freshwater, relate to supposed aliens seen by military divers in its depth and large spaceships hovering over its gray. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Gray, moody expanses. Some of the images here show what 2 photographers claimed were UFOs buzzing the lake, while others are mock-ups from NTV based on descriptions of an incident at Kudera Somon in Buryata, exactly a quarter of a century ago. A number of sightings also indicate bright cigar-shaped objects in the sky flying over Baikal, as in the top picture. So these are mock-ups of reports of UFO sightings in and over Lake Baikal. And apparently, which is kind of interesting, they mentioned that the military apparently had reports here of aliens in the lake. It's pretty cool. We haven't tackled aliens yet on the podcast. This is cool. All right, a case for which there were no images but an intriguing description occurred at Irkutsk. region in 17th of April, 87. All right, we already read about this a little bit. The words that follow are from Valerie Runestov, a local resident in nearby Shida Village. I'm assuming that this is Valerie? Oh, that's Margarita. Pardon me. Okay, so that's Margarita. So here's what Valerie had to say. There was 13 of us. At about 12:20 a.m., it's that dot. One of our guys went into the yard. A few seconds later, runs and calls all of us out. He stood in the center of the yard and pointed his finger at the sky. Diagonally from his gesture, 150 meters above us, hung a huge flying saucer. From the center of the plate was a phosphorescent purple ray, and at the edges of the plate were yellow portholes, almost like in our rural houses. The diameter of the plate was 70 meters. We saw it so clearly for a long time. Somebody suggested he throw a stone at it. Can you imagine? I love it when these stories give these little details, because like in the Dover Demon, for example, we had the kid who yeah, and then I chased the Dover Demon into the woods. Like, you are a 15-year-old kid running after basically an alien in the woods at midnight with no one around to a lake. And it reminds me of this right here. Like, yeah, we saw it so clear for a long time. Somebody suggested he throw a stone at it. You got this flying saucer way above you, shaped like a cigar, with portholes and a purple ray in the whole 1950s yards, and your thought is, it's been there a while. What if we threw a stone at it? Like, oh, I love humans. Alright, the weather was amazingly quiet. No sound was heard from the hanging saucer, although behind us was the village of Kerma. There was a noise of a dog barking, the lowing of cows. We were spellbound. So I'm seeing a lot of where LearnRussian.net got their details. This one interview right here. It was a full moon and the visibility was so clear none of us could doubt the reality of what we saw, and then the plate slid smoothly away, sailed along the shore of the bay, and further slipped into the hills of Okone. Neither before nor after have I ever met such a thing. But since that time, it has been a kind of sacrilege to me not to believe in UFOs. My friend Alexander, a hunter, and his colleagues who lived there for 20 years often see UFOs, and all is fine. He is still alive. So if to speak about glowing balls or cigars, we constantly see these on the shores of Lake Baikal. They exist. Huh. That is interesting. The case highlights by NTV channel was on May 6, 1990, in the village of Kudara Somen and Kyakistiki district, some 300 kilometers from Ulan-Ude, capital Republic of Buryatia. Okay. And then here we have Margarita, recalling the UFO visit to Kudra Somen. Margarita's shows where the flying saucer landed, pictures NTV. Ugh, excuse me. And that's how we have a space war. People, that's not how you think of research. That's how you start a war with a species that's able to fly. What, you don't just think of throwing rocks, my guy. I mean, I guess, but it's still like, I don't know. It's just funny. It's hilarious. Olga Fedorova, a local resident, recalled, at some moment, everything turned yellow. My daughter came home from school. I looked, her face was yellow. The explanation soon became clear, according to accounts from villagers. Vasily Timofeev spoke of a flying saucer. Its diameter was around 30 meters. It shone brightly, but I did not see a clear image of a metal or something like this. Another resident, Margarita is seen above right here, said, from this dish came down people in shiny, shimmering costumes. I'll go explain these. There were people, and as far as I remember, 3 people in shining yellow suits. Seems there were people. Yes, okay. There are people. Marina Zimierova. Okay, so Marina, who also says she witnessed this extraordinary sight, said it was some kind of circle. It can be said it was like a disc. It turned on the edge, and well, windows were visible. I personally decided for myself that there were people. They had some human image. They were the same, straight, slender. They had arms and legs, and their gait was the same as ours. A little lower down, there were 3 in orange suits. It sounded like the back rooms. They went down from the disc like a man. The steps were very visible. Then, as they recounted the strange event, the aliens saw people watching them. They returned to their spaceship, flew away. Okay, so this is Nikita Toman. This is... Oh. Well, hello. A picture taken by Nikita shows 3 green-shaped lights on a UFO flying above Lakeside Resort. Interesting. So, for once, we have possible photo evidence of whatever it is being talked about. I'm going to keep this page open. I've got a certain trick up my sleeve that we will get to eventually when time comes. Game Warden Gennady Lipinski also recalls seeing a UFO. When I saw it, it was flying low until it disappeared over the horizon. I kept looking at it. I called it a fireball, and what it really was, I cannot know. The chairman of the Union of Photographers of Buryatia, Sergei Koneshnik Ulan-Udy, was quoted about a much more recent incident on July 9th, 2009, around 10 p.m. My son and I went out to the balcony to see the last of the waning sunset. That's sweet. Can you imagine just like you and your son just like, come on, champ, let's go watch the sunset. Suddenly there appeared these 2 glowing points, and they hovered over in the water. His pictures of the incident are clear, yet perhaps raise the main question of the answer. They show 2 glows in the night sky featuring a yellow core with an orange-red surround. By his account, the mysterious crafts rose and rebased elsewhere on Baikal's surface. Around the same time, Anna Vinogradova recalled a different but equally strange sight on the water. We were standing with tents on the bench, on the beach, and at night we saw orange-red flashes as if a huge fires. She said at List Vayanka in July 2010. A picture by Nikita Toman shows 3 green shaded lights on a UFO flying above the Lakeside Resort. Yeah. That's the Lakeside Resort one. And we have, this is Sergey. Oh, pardon me.
Like, we can try to find like videos over that link.
Yeah, that was where my mind was going, honestly, about like if there are photographs, there must be some sort of video. And the chairman of the Union of Photographers shows a picture of me in July. It flew right above us, very low. The object was shining down on us with a green light. We were a bit scared, he said, but the accounts also include aliens in the deep waters of Baikal. Interestingly, unlike several other Siberian lakes, Baikal is not seen as a home to a Loch Ness-style monster, but rather boasts space-like aliens under its murky surface. For example, and here's a tough-to-say first name, Vyacheslav, I'm just saying Slav. No, wait, I don't think that's a proper
Vyacheslav.
Vyacheslav. Yeah. Lavderzevich, a rescuer, recalled an incident but did not give the date. We were on a yacht to Lake Baikal, and from under us flew out a huge glowing disc. It blinded us and for a second flew into the sky. We did not even have time to grab any cameras nor take a video. Although many of us saw it was huge, and it lifted up all of our yacht. In diameter is probably 500 700 meters, a huge disc. For 3 minutes it shone from below the surface and then abruptly departed in a second. The spectacle was huge, awesome, beautiful, and shocking. And here is Vyacheslav, and then here is Olg Chinchulian was also on a boat training students near Cape Svato Nos. They saw strange objects. There was a ball that glowed, and then this ball started to fade and blush, and it turned into a red ball. This red ball for a while lay on the water and then began to shrink, and all this gradually went under the water and became dark. Yet there was even more intriguing accounts from underwater aliens. In 1977, when Leonid Berveneh ruled the Kremlin, oh, that's an actual important person. Okay, well, when Leonid, you can tell how much I care about international, by international I mean Russian history, if I'm gonna be honest. That sounds bad, but it's never been interesting to me. 2 researchers named V. Alexandrov and G. Sylvestrov were in a submersible device at a depth of 1,200 meters in the lake. The researchers turned off their spotlights to explore the depth of penetration of sunlight in the water. Suddenly, scientists were bathed in light from an unusual glow. Alexandrov recalled, "It was so like if our device was lit from above and the side by two strong spotlights. Only a minute later, unknown floodlights went out and we found ourselves in total darkness." And that is some sort of picture. Okay. And, here are the drawings. In 1982, 7 military divers were reported to have come across aliens under the waters of Baikal. Alexei Tivanenko, a doctor of history, said, quote, "At a depth of 50 meters, they met swimmers, around 3 meters tall, dressed in tight-fitting silvery suits. They did not have any scuba or other devices, just helmets on their heads. They received an order to catch the Ihtander, half-body, half-shark from modern Russian folklore, but they were immediately washed ashore with no signs of decomposition. They had 2 decompression devices. I'm sorry, not decomposition, decompression. They had 2 decompression devices, but one was broken. All 7 people could not be put inside, so they put only 4 of them. And those 3 people who were not put in a device died on the beach. Tivankio had likened the descriptions to ancient petroglyphs seen by some as being aliens visiting Earth. I have hundreds of drawings like these sons of the skies, he told MTV. They are untitled by the fact that all of them are tall, dressed in suits, all with the helmets on their heads, and there are mechanisms used by astronauts today. Ancient alien theorists are going to have a blast with this one if they ever find out. They're probably already talking about it for all I know. What if the lake is a base for them and that's why they keep going to the lake? Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Reports surfaced several days ago in the Russian media that Spielberg was expected at Baikal in May and that he intends to make a documentary entitled Depth to 11, citing the, quote, press service, end quote, of MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, a U.S.-based organization that investigates UFO sightings. News sources info Baikal.ru and others reported his trip, yet there was no confirmation from Hollywood director who has made such films as Ghost of Cows, Third Kind, E.T., The Extraterrestrial, would be arriving. No further detail on the report. Project later, Komoslavaka Pravad and the IA Telinform denied the reports, but without quoting any sources close to the director. All right. So we have a lot of comments here that I'm just going to ignore, but long story short, a lot of these people are calling into question the fact that they're seeing aliens. This gives me an idea, though. So for those who don't know, there is reverse image searching, right? So reverse image searching is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of searching a word or a phrase, you search an image. I don't like Google's reverse image function. I just don't. I think it's poorly made. It's too complex. It doesn't do its job correctly. So there's one called TinEye. And TinEye is a reverse image search that is not only very user-friendly, but is also very good at what it does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the green image taken by, I think it was Valerie or, no, Margarita, one or the other, put it into here and see what, so never mind on that one. I'm gonna eat my words and move on to how about this one. Okay, UFOsfacts.com, Siberian Times, blog.seniornet, and bus can do la dol. Okay, whatever. So I'm going to go to UFOs Facts. And no, I'm not. That is a domain that is up for grabs.
Your stream is only showing half.
Oh, okay. Whoopsie. Sorry. Thank you for that, Collie.
No, of course.
So, this is Tiny Eye. I'm sorry, everybody. I had not thought about that. So, this is Tiny Eye, and when you punch this into here, it comes up 4 results. UFOs Facts is up for sale, so if anybody wants to spend $2,195 to buy the domain from hugedomains.com, you can absolutely spend that money if you want. I think it's a little ridiculous. But yeah, so we have 4 different ones. Bus can do LADO. So the point is, really, Siberian Times here is the only one I'm going to trust. So I'm not going to. In this one, I cannot search into it because it's too simple of an image. So we're going to remove that. And we're going to remove this because that didn't lead us anywhere. But there's a lot of names here, a lot of reports. The interesting thing is this article does a really good job of summarizing multiple events that happen over a long span of time. What did I just click on? I did not mean to click on that. Over a large span of time. So I'm going to try to take Lake Baikal. Aliens. Alright, here we go. Now we're honing in a little, because now we're starting to get YouTube videos, right? And there's probably going to be a whole lot of these. But, yeah, that's probably talking about the what the military saw during the Soviet Union. And there was a lot. Now,
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So, looks like the stream went down temporarily. Okay. Hello. Looks like the stream kind of died out for a second there. I apologize. I don't know what that could have been. But regardless. So, the main thing here is trying to find a URL in our website that looks at least somewhat trustworthy. I like cryptopia.us. It has .us in the URL, meaning I kind of trust it, and it's also cryptids. Now, I feel like this is bringing up new stuff. Hey, Rob Morphy. Thanks, Rob Morphy. Appreciate your hard work for this. 2015 again. A lot of articles were about this in 2015. So, let's give this a quick read. Probably going to skip over a few things because I assume it's going to be recounting what we already read. But it looks like there's some new stuff here, so let's go take a look. Russia's Lake Baikal is said to be the home of a colossal beast, but there are other reports that suggest this monumental body of water may also harbor a base for... base! Look at that, Lord Shax. Look at that. It harbors a base for extraterrestrial visitors, just like you guessed. And there are NASA photos that may prove it. Located in Siberia near the Mongolian border and surrounded by steep mountains. 330 million year old lake, blah, blah, blah. With a reported depth, we already read that, including numerous fish species found nowhere else. Correct. Baikal is, of course, perfectly situated to harbor a lake monster of immense proportions. And numerous eyewitnesses confirms that it does, but there are photos and observers who insist that the lake hides more than just the Baikal lake monster. They swear it has... I'm actually going to open that up. A couple of these, actually. Creatures that hail from out of this world. According to Vladimir Azaza, a famed UFOologist and former Soviet naval officer, declassified secret files released by the Russian government indicate that in 1982, 7 military divers were training in depths. And they saw the creatures. As that one was ranged enough, divers also claimed and came across a squad of silver suit clad divers attempted to capture some of these humanoids, resulting in the brutal deaths of... Whoa, they actually died. Ooh. Alrighty. The 4 survivors who recounted their harrowing experience were all said to have been severely injured by the visitors. While Cold War era records from the former Soviet Union are often redacted to the point of incoherence, there have been some recent photos that released by NASA that may help to confirm the Lake Baikal conceals some very UFO-like technology. Between April 5th and April 20th, 2009, astronauts aboard the International Space Station photographed 2 enigmatic circular convection breaks, which appear to have been created by something rising up from below the ice covering Lake Baikal. One of the saucer-like cracks was located at the south end of the lake, while the other was miles away in the center. Both of those, as yet unexplained, circles was approximately 3 miles in diameter and caused massive ice fracturing on the frozen surface of the lake. There are even some researchers who have speculated that the MODIS, Modern Resolution Imaging Spectroradiometer, images released by NASA give a clear indication of a circular or disc-shaped object emerging from the depths of the lake of the frigid lake. Could these be the so-called visitors seen by the unnamed Soviet divers in 82? Not surprisingly, Azahaz believes that the underwater bases harboring UFOs or USOs, unidentified submerged objects, are a very real possibility. Let me just open this up real quick.
I think you see on the left. Yeah.
Yeah, so one right there. Those are
One over there,
extremely similar, yeah. Huh.
So 2 bases in the same lake.
That is interesting. Alright, don't worry. I think about underwater bases, say why not? Nothing should be discarded. Skepticism is the easiest way. Believe nothing, do nothing. People rarely visit great depths, so it's very important to analyze what they encounter there. I just want to say, right, because I'm not going into this saying, oh, I 100% believe. But, first of all, these are NASA taking photos, and that's interesting. And second of all, it's that classic line, right? And I know it's said by everybody, but we know more about the moon's surface than we do about our own oceans. Like, it's going to be a long time until we as a species have an understanding of the oceans to the point where we're able to credit and discredit certain ideologies. So literally, why not? Like, there is no reason to say that couldn't happen because we don't know. We don't know what it's like down there. We don't know what it's like so far deep. And to have a creature also there are creatures that you can only find in Lake Baikal is really out of the question that if there are aliens underwater, it could be in Lake Baikal. Is that really out of the question? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? It's some food for thought. In summer 2012, a group of amateur adventurers known as the Trans-Eurasian UFO Search Expedition, UFO Search Expedition, set up a various piece of recording scientific equipment on the shores of Lake Baikal in hopes of finding some evidence of UFOs. Expedition member Vladimir Kunzistov told a Reuters correspondent about a fascinating UFO case involving the lake in the late 1950s. Some new info. Here in 1958, there was an Tu-154 airplane crash. There were some reports from the locals that UFO pursued the aircraft till it reached Baikal waters right here, and then there were frequent reports of UFO activity all around Baikal. So there's a reason why we decided to meet here. Perhaps the most intriguing question one must consider regarding the abundant known. Ugh, pardon me, I'm so sorry. An unknown life dwelling in our planet's biggest freshwater bodies, whether or not the famous Baikal Lake monster has anything to do with these potentially extraterrestrial and clearly violent humanoids. Is a monster an intergalactic version of a guard dog used to protect the underwater headquarters of non-Earth beings, or is it simply a case of cryptids and aliens doing their best to coexist in the vast expanse of the Baikal? Whatever the answer may be, this ancient and isolated Russian lake may be considered one of the most mysterious regions left on our planet. Alright. It's always when wars and tension starts in the world that the encounter in unexplainable starts to be heard in search for, like, how the Nazis built a death machine named the Bell anti-gravity bell. Yeah. Anti-gravity bell, yeah. Well, that's the thing, like, and that's actually something really good that one day I might touch on, honestly, in its own separate video, but, like, the anti-gravity bell. It was, Nazi. It was literally a project, like, conducted by Hitler to say, okay, I just realized I'm probably going to get shadow banned from YouTube for showing the swastika, but, like, at this point, I'm beyond all that. I'm not getting monetized anytime soon, man. You want to shadow ban me, shadow ban me. I digress. The Bell, Die Glocke. Yeah, it's literally a machine attempted to have been created by the Nazi Party to have anti-gravity. Like, this was a real case of anti-gravity.
Now, that's probably because Hitler was obsessed with the occult and the dead and the dreaded and the dark, all those things, all the,
stereotypical evil stuff, right? But, like, this was real. This was a real piece of technology that the Nazis were really trying to create. This is what it looked like. It had markings on the sides. It was an attempt at humans, like, capturing anti-gravity, right? And this was in the 40s, too. It is interesting because, like, part of me has always gone, with all these UFO saucers and everything like that, it's... Who's to say that the Nazi Party in World War II messing with the occult didn't have anything to do with the sudden influx of UFOs? I'm not here being a theorist saying, well, what if the Nazis continued on and created what we know as UFOs today? I'm just saying, why is it that after World War II, we had all these supposed, intrusive, over-the-top amount of UFO sightings? It's something to chew and think about. It really is. But, regardless, so those are the aliens, and he mentions the Baikal Lake monster. Now, we had briefly met this guy a little bit, but not too often. So let's just give this a quick read-through. And keep in mind that this is in the same place as this right here, where we have one little circle and another little circle miles apart in the Baikal River. So let's keep that in mind. Also, we don't need this link. There are some who suggest that this sturgeon-like monstrosity is a result of the massive amounts of pollutants which are spewed daily into the Lake Baikal, but others insist that the beast is a vicious mammal. Perhaps this lake is home to both. Located in Siberia near the Mongolian border and surrounded by steep mountains and dense forests, Lake Baikal is the largest freshwater body of water in the world, with a reported depth of well over 4,911 feet. This colossal lake is credited with holding over 20% of the planet's fresh water. We already know this. These facts, along with the remoteness of the region, seem to indicate that Baikal is perfectly situated to harbor a pair of mysterious monsters of immense proportions, and eyewitness confirms that it does. Described by most eyewitnesses as being sturgeon-like in appearance, which is not surprising since the largest sturgeon ever recorded was caught in Russia and measured a whopping 27 feet. That is huge. This infamous beast has also been likened to a gargantuan pinniped. What did you say? And the ruins at the side are interesting. That means they must have a sector dedicated to the cult. Yeah, I hate to say it, but Call of Duty, I think it was World War II, literally took that real world history and then just made it the zombies mode storyline. But I should really do a video on that, man. It's so interesting. It really is. Hitler towards the end of the world was getting desperate, and he just wanted any and every possible chance at victory, which included the occult. And some of the stuff that they tried doing was just it's hard to even imagine. It really is. So anyways, the infamous beast has also been likened to a gargantuan pinniped. The fact is also interesting considering that Lake Baikal, even though it's situated over 1,000 miles from the northeast marine coast, supports a massive seal population. These conflicting theories regarding the biological origins of the Baikal Lake monster forces one to consider the possibility that the lake harbors both an extraordinarily large sturgeon as well as a behemoth mammalian monstrosity. And as a colossal kaiju-like critters dueling for superiority in the depths of this massive lake boggle the mind. Well, if you're a Godzilla geek like me, they do. There have been numerous theories posed as to the origins of these animals, including the other popular prehistoric relics landlocked in the lake during the last ice age, to the ecologically terrifying hypothesis that the creatures are a man-made aberration creature, like so many classic B-movie beasts, from the tremendous amount of pollution spewed into the lake. The number one perpetrator of this heinously degenerative act of environmental destruction is the Baikalisk pulp and paper mill, which has dumped approximately 210,000 cubic meters of untreated waste into Lake Baikal every day since. Ooh, that's awful. Other researchers have even speculated that the animal may be a rogue sea serpent, which has a juvenile swam up one of the 366 rivers and streams that fed into the Baikal Basin, that's honestly pretty fair to say. Whatever this creature may or may not be, one of the most astonishing aspects of Lake Baikal is that despite the amount of pollution, it harbors an amazing degree of biodiversity and is the only freshwater environment on Earth known to support hydrothermal vent life forms. The amazing conglomerations of aquatic animals has been discovered at an approximate depth of 1,200 feet in the northern portion of the lake, along with an array of species including sponges, bacterial mats, snails, blah blah blah, some of which are new science. On July 29th, 2008, Russian scientists led by Arthur Chernogorov attempted to reach the bottom of the world's deepest freshwater abyss in a bid to find unknown life forms, as well as claim a new record. We want to study, observe Lake Baikal in order to preserve it, said Chilingarov. As if two possibly completely unique lake monsters were not enough for Lake Baikal, there are many who claim it is a hotbed of UFO, blah, blah, blah. The 3 divers were killed. We already know all this. That's old news. So, what is this? Baikal 1. Oh, well, that's a dead fish. That is sad.
Yeah. Do you think maybe we can find more information about that Baikal? Wasn't there like a tribe in the first thing that we read?
Yes. So that was
Yeah, I think it was in that one, all the way in the top. A little bit more.
I think it was somewhere here. Well, no. It was talked about in the beginning.
Yeah.
I
think
Buryat, I think it was.
I think so, yeah.
Buryat. Where are we? Buryal.
Apparently there's a Republic of Buryatia.
That is... Yeah, we can go back to that. So, history. Let's read about this, because they do seem pretty important here. I mean, if anyone's going to know anything about this, it's going to be people who've lived there since, 1600. Yeah, the tribe folklore and legends, like Lord Jack said. Yeah, exactly. Good memory, Ellie. Good point.
Thank you.
So, the Baikal area, sometimes known as Baikalia, has a long history of human habitation near the village of Malta, some 160 kilometers northwest of the lake. Remains of a young human male known as MA-1 or Malta boy are indications of local habitation by the Malta Beret culture, ca. 24,000 BP, an early known tribe in the area as the that's interesting. Was the Curricans. Oh, this is brutal. Alright. Located in the former Northern Territory of the Xenogu Confederation, Lake Baikal is one site of the Han-Zhonggu War, where the armies of the Han Dynasty pursued and defeated the Xenogu forces from the 2nd century BC to the 1st century AD. They recorded that the lake was a huge sea and designated it the North Sea of the Symmetrical Four Seas. The Kurkans, a Siberian tribe who inhabited the area in the 6th century, gave it the name that translates to much water. That's fair. Later on, it was called the Natural Lake by the Buryates and Rich Lake by the Yakuts. Little was known to Europeans about the lake until Russia expanded into the area in the 17th century. The first Russian explorer to reach Lake Baikal was Kurbat Ivanov in 1643. Russian expansion into the Buryat area around Lake Baikal in 1628 to 58, was part of the Russian conquest of Siberia. It was done by first allowing the Angara River upstream from Yenisky, founded 1619, and later by moving south from the Lena River. Russians first heard of the Buryates in 1609 at Tomsk. According to folktales related a century after the fact, in 1623, Demid Payada, who may have been the first Russian to reach the Lena, crossed the upper Lena to the Angara and arrived at Oh my goodness. Okay, blah, blah, blah. More stuff about history of Russia. A number of ill-documented expeditions explored eastward from this place. In 1628, Pyotr first encountered a group of Buryates and collected Yasaka tribute from them in the future site of Bratsk. In 1629, Yakov went silver mine and his men so began plundering both Russian and natives. They were joined by another band of riders, but left the Buryat country when they ran short of food. This made it difficult for other Russians to enter the area. Okay. And doesn't seem what they talk about anymore of the Buryates. So let's go back to the Republic of... Here it is. Republic of Buryatia. And of course, we're going to get a lot of history here, but I am more interested in less of the history and more about religion. What are we looking at? Buryats adhered to belief systems that were based on the deification. That I'm sure that's not defecation. Deification, that's the word. I'm somewhat smart. Deification in nature, belief in spirits, and the possibility of their magic influence on the surroundings. They were led by shamans who tribal beliefs and cults. From the second half of the 17th century, beliefs and cults in the shamanic form were displaced by Buddhism, which became widespread in ethnic Buryatia. By the end of the 19th century, the majority of Buryats were part of the Buddhist tradition. A synthesis of Buddhism and traditional beliefs formed a system of ecological traditions has constituted a major attribute of Buryat culture. In 2003, the local religious organization Shamans Tengeri was officially registered as a religious organization of Buryatia. At a 2012 survey, 27.4% of the population adheres to Russian Orthodox Church, 19% Buddhism, 2% the Slavic native faith, Tengerism or Buryat shamanism, 4% declares to be unaffiliated Christian, 1% are Orthodox Christian believers without belonging to churches or members of Orthodox churches, 1% are members of Protestant churches. In addition, 25% of the population declares to be spiritual but not religious, 13% atheist, 10% follows another religion, does not give an answer to the survey. Tibetan Buddhism and Orthodox Christianity are the most widespread religions in the Republic. Many Slavs, who constitute 67% of the population, are Russian Orthodox. Blah, 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 blah. It keeps going on. It seems like... So what's interesting... I don't know if I'm reading too much into it. I absolutely could be. But what's interesting is they talk about how in the beginning, they were based on the deification of nature, which is very interesting considering that these are the same people who inhabit Lake Baikal. It says it right there to the right. Meaning, in a sense, that they saw Lake Baikal as a place of the deities. Well, so far, we have UFOs and lake monsters, which might possibly explain some sort of undocumented beliefs within the Republic of Buryatia as to why they believe that. Because I don't know about you, but even to this day, if I see something like flying out of the lake, I'd be like, so my religious beliefs didn't prepare me for this. Because it's just one of those things, you know? So that is interesting, to say the very least. So we know about the aliens, right? Like, 3 divers are humanoids, and 3 died, 4 lived, blah, blah, blah. I'm interested in the dragon, because we heard about those dragons earlier. LakeBaikal.org. Look at that. There's a whole website. Legends of Baikal. Home facts, nature, climate, fauna, and flora. What's the home look? Just real quick. Is it just like, yeah, where is it? Lake, geographical location. Alright, so, yeah, copyright 22. So, this is a legit place. So, okay. We are on the right direction, I feel. Buryat people in the earthquake. The most popular is the legend of Buryat people. According to it, Lake Baikal appeared in ancient times as a result of an earthquake. Legend says the earth opened up and fire spewed from its depth, burning everything in its way. All people could do was run out of its way and pray to gods, but the gods were deaf to the cry for help, hopeless and tired. The people continued to repeat only 2 words, Baikal, which translated from Russian means into stops the fire. Eventually, the fire really stopped and disappeared as if it never existed. On the place of the earthquake was a deep hole appeared, and it began to fill quickly up with transparent icy water. The body of the water was unexpectedly was formed there was called Baikal. Alright. Baikal, his daughter Angara, and a sad love story. The second legend, talking about the origin of the lake's more romantic. Once upon a time, there was an old man called Baikal. He was a famous warrior, an authoritative rich old man who had hundreds of sons, but only one beautiful daughter, Angara. The old man was hiding her from everyone, not allowing her to meet anybody. But once the seagulls sang her about a cheerful, handsome gentleman whose name was Yensei. Since then, Angara could only think of him, that being Yensei. Baikal found out about that and locked her behind 7 doors under 77 locks, deciding to marry her to Urquhart, a man from a neighboring village, but right before the wedding, Angara disappeared. He never saw her again. Heartbroken, he cried until his death. The tears that poured out of his eyes turned into a great lake that were called Lake Baikal. Okay. Here's what we're familiar with: the dragon. Lake Baikal monster and the flaming dragon. According to the third legend, the creator of Lake Baikal was a flaming dragon. He appeared at sunset, glittering with fiery scales, seated on a chariot of pure gold. Sinking to the ground, the dragon waved his fiery tail, and the earth split from the impact. He waved again, and the ice on tops of the mountains melted, falling down powerful streams and filling the gap of brim. Near the lake that appeared, everything was instantly covered with greenery. Birds fluttered over the clear water. Animals ran merrily. Having looked around and created the miracle that he created, the dragon entered the lake and sank to its bottom. But every 120 years, it came up to the surface. People organized great festivals in his honor. But once people forgot that the dragon must appear, then the fiery dragon became angry and flooded the entire earth from edge to edge with water. Later, other tribes, other peoples appeared, but no one else heard of the dragon.
He's such a good storyteller.
Thank you. What's interesting is so this is I like theology. I think theology is cool. Theology being the study of religion. There's all the narration voice. Thank you. I try. There is a lot of stories that have to do with floods. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about the world flooding. We all know Noah's Ark. There are many religions that believe that the earth was flooded at once from basically an act of whatever god it may be that the religion believes in. And here we have the most isolated form of people that there are around a simple lake in Russia. And again, they're talking about the Great Flood. That is very interesting to me. I think one of these days I'm gonna have to do a whole video looking into the history and the idea of the world flooding over, because I'm telling you, once you look into it, it gets it's easy to get obsessed with it. It's really interesting. So that's just really interesting to see. I missed that part probably in the last article that we read about it, but at the very least, something to keep in mind. Lake Baikal swimmers or the Mist Riders. In addition to ancient legends, there are some quite modern ones. Baikal is considered a special energy center. To recharge and get to know the life-giving energy, UFOologists, esoterists, and shamans from all over the world came here. Ordinary people are skeptical about such subtle matters, but even they can witness an amazing phenomenon here. It is said that silhouette riders can sometimes be seen in fog. The ghostly figures rush directly at people standing in the water, and no one can explain this. The locals believe that this is the host of the old ruler Hassan Hosen, who went underwater. His army crossed the lake during the winter, but the ice magically cracked and the black waters swallowed the enemy. Since then, the souls of warriors have rushed to the shores of Lake Baikal and cannot find peace for themselves. And of course, we have the aliens. The flood is everywhere, exactly, Shax. Another modern legend about unusual appearances around Lake Baikal is related to the existence of aliens. According to this belief, the lake would be a real UFO hotspot. As a result, in the summer 2012, several locals organized a UFO observation mission on the shores of Baikal in the hope of proving the presence of extraterrestrial activity in the area.
You know
And what?
I wanted to say something that is very interesting that I just saw today. Actually, there is apparently a new research now that the asteroid that hit Earth back 66 million years ago, when it hit, there was a tsunami that actually happened and it covered the whole planet.
Really?
It's something that they just I think I saw it in CNN.
Huh.
But do you think maybe that's the dragon that they saw?
Maybe. I mean, just hearing that alone could explain a lot. I mean, also, that could easily be a, grasping at straws, media saying your religion is wrong, but at the same time, that could explain why they claim the dragon is looking like it was. I don't know, that's interesting. That could be something to look into. Thank you.
Nice.
So, I mean, LakeBaikal.org is pretty interesting in and of itself, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so So what do we have so far? We have a lot of legends that I would even go a little bit to the extent of saying that we may not have to worry about too many of them. Like the dragon thing, it's possible. I won't lie. But that sounds a little less... It lines up with the idea of some sort of unexplainable creature that lives in the ocean out in Lake Baikal, guarding, quote-unquote, the alien bases that we saw in the photos in that one website, which looks like I got rid of the tab of, but there's a lot that's kind of weirdly meeting. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. There's a lot of little pieces I'm starting to notice kind of fit really well here. Whether it's a dragon or whether it's a creature or a serpent or a giant sturgeon, whatever it may be, there is something there that is matching the times of which these aliens are being seen. I'm liking where this is going so far. This is going pretty well. We saw the Dragon King earlier. Is there anything here that says Baikal? Ah. Alright. So this is the Dragon King in Wikipedia. Let's just read this real quick. This is a little bit interesting. The Dragon King, also known as the Dragon God, is a Chinese water and weather god. He is regarded as a dispenser of rain as well as a zoomorphic representation of the yang masculine power of generation. He is the closest personification of the ancient concept of the long in Chinese culture. He can take a variety of forms, the most important ones being the cosmological Shai Longwang, Dragon King of the Four Seas, who, with the addition of the yellow dragon of Zuan Yuan, represent the watery chthonic forces powered by the five forms of the highest deity. How are these Chinese words easier to pronounce than the Russian words? What is going on? Or there's zoomorphic incarnation. One of the epithets is Dragon King of Wells and Springs. The Dragon King is the king of dragons, and he also controls all the creatures in the sea. Dragon King gets his orders from the Jade Emperor. Besides being a water deity, the Dragon God frequently also serves as a traditional tutelary deity similar to Tudigong and Hutu. Okay. Dragon worship. The ancient Chinese worship gods. The ancient Chinese worship gods and the dragon because the Chinese dragon is an imagined reptile that represents evolution from ancestor and key energy. The presence of dragons with Chinese culture dates back to several thousands of years, with the discovery of a dragon statue dating back to the 5th millennium BC from the Yangshao culture in Henan in 1987, and jade badges of rank in coiled form have been excavated from the Hongshan culture circa 4700 to 2900 BC. Some of the earliest dragon artifacts are the pig dragon carvings from the Hongshan culture. What did you say, Shax? I mean, we don't know the image of the dragon. They talk about dragons come in different flavor. Yeah, your flavor of the day dragon today is the yellow dragon. But no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, they come in different forms, essentially. Each one of the four dragon... Wait, no, Yellow Dragon. The Yellow Dragon does not have a precise body of water, which he is a patron. However, as a zoomorphic incarnation of the Yellow Emperor, he represents the source of the myriad things. Dragon King of the Four Seas. So, each one of the four Dragon Kings of the Four Seas is associated to a color and a body of water corresponding to one of the cardinal directions and natural boundaries of China. The East Sea corresponding to East China Sea, the South Sea corresponding to the South China Sea, the West Sea, Qinghang Lake, and the North Sea, Lake Baikal. They appear in classical novels like The Investiture of the Gods and Journey to the West. Each one has a proper name and they share the surname Ao, meaning playing or proud. And then the Azure Dragon, blue-green, or green dragon is Dragon God of the East. In spring, summer, Algong and patron of the East China Sea, and yeah, blah, blah, blah. The Black Dragon, also called Dark Dragon or Mysterious Dragon, is Dragon God of the North and essence of water. His proper names are Ao Shun, are Ale Ming, and his body of water is Lake Baikal. White Dragon is the Queeg Lake. Worship of the Dragon God. Worship of dragons celebrated throughout China with sacrifices. Hey. Remember earlier, we saw that website talking about how there were sacrifices that happened in honor of the supposed dragon. Well, here we have the Wikipedia talking about how the dragon gods celebrate throughout China with sacrifices and processions during the 5th and 6th moons, and especially on the date of his birthday, the 13th day of the 6th moon. A folk religious movement of associations of good doing in modern Hebei is primarily devoted to a generic dragon god whose icon is a tablet with his name inscribed on it, utilized in a ritual known as the Movement of Dragon Tablet. The dragon god is traditionally venerated with dragon boat racing. In coastal regions of China, Korea, Vietnam, traditional legends and worshipping of whale gods have been referred to as dragon kings after the arrival of Buddhism. And then some Buddhist traditions describe a figure named Duo Luo Shiki or Talashikin as a dragon king who lives in a palace located in a pond near the legendary kingdom of Kedamunti. It is said that during the midnight he used to drizzle in this pond and cleanse himself of dust. I have to open up YouTube now and go back to my own live stream, which is embarrassing because my phone died and I can no longer immediately read the comments. So there we go. Alrighty. Very nice. So, that is the Chinese representation of pretty much like, I don't want to say creation, but the Dragon King, essentially. It's just really interesting. Again, it's an instance of the Wikipedia talking about something pretty separate from everything else is, again, meeting the preset rules of the people of Baikal, Lake Baikal, which is sacrifices, and every so often you have to do rituals and festivities. And then it goes on to say that once they stopped, it got angry, flooded the lake, and then that's when we never saw the dragon again because it realized it was forgotten. Seems like that's not really mentioned in the Wikipedia of the Dragon King wiki, but who knows? It could be something similar. So, that is the story of the dragon. UFO base. Let's try that. Ancientcode.com. Yeah. Lake Baikal in 1982. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. 1982 Russian Navy underwater encounter at Lake Baikal, r/UFOs. Let's take a look at Reddit. We've touched Reddit a couple times throughout the series. Let's give it a real chance here to do something with us, right? 7 years ago, I've been doing some reading on Lake Baikal. The lake is fascinating enough in its natural way. It is the deepest freshwater lake in the world and supports a very unique ecosystem. It is a rift lake in what is aptly named the Baikal Rift Zone, which is the divergent plate boundary between the Eurasian plate and the Amur plate. Reading about some of the more mysterious stories surrounding it, I keep seeing reference to a 1982 instance involving the Russian Navy and an encounter with an underwater humanoid. I can't find any sort of concrete foundation for the story. It is mentioned briefly in nearly every mysterious Lake Baikal blog post, but I can't find any source. It's almost like one of these sites wrote down something they all heard and just started copying it. Honestly, looking for this one incident has reminded me why I got so fed up with the modern paranormal 14 UFO information on the internet. Like all of the sites I come across have a cheap, ridiculous appearance and style. The information is always so disjointed. Does anyone know where I can find any follow-up information on 1982 Navy dive in Lake Baikal? Any more information? I would love to hear about it. And we have Lake Baikal also holds 20%. Okay, yeah, we got that. You might have already did something like this and are already aware of the results, but here it goes. Google Translate with all its flaws as your friend. Copy paste the Lake Baikal plus humanoid into Google Translate. Posted the results. On Google.ru, put the first few words on Go scan some of the translated results for recurring names, places, dates, and other info time snippets. This is not helpful. Mid-2009, about release of documents on Russian agency. That was not that helpful, unfortunately. So, an ancient lake. Sorry for the, what's that movie called? The one with Tom Cruise, he's jumping through. Inception. Sorry for the Inception here. But, so an ancient lake filled with 1 dragons, 2 aliens, 3 ancient deities, and spirits of nature. Wow, that's one. I know, this lake is, this has got everything. This could be a good fan song. Some like nerdcore song, you know what I mean, about Lake Baikal. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe I'll try and make one. I've been meaning to make music for a long time, so I mean, who knows? We'll see. But what else do we have? Let's try to search a bit. Change it up. 1982, Lake Baikal, Russian Navy, humanoid deaths, documents release. Let's see if we can find anything. Russian Navy divers encountered aquatic aliens. Russian Navy divers encountered aquatic aliens. Russian Navy divers encountered aquatic aliens.
There's an agreement over there.
Yeah, I think some Russian Navy divers encountered aquatic aliens. And I think some Russian Navy divers, who were attacked by aquatic aliens. We're changing it up. Russian Navy declassifies Cold War close encounters. Alright. Is there any concrete information here? Okay, get out of here. Great catch by Scoop Deck Blog. The Russian Navy has just declassified its records of Cold War UFO sightings. Turns out 50% of UFO encounters are connected with oceans, 15% more lakes, so UFOs tend to stick water. One Russian officer explained, server not found. Cool. On several occasions, the instruments gave reading of material objects moving at incredible speed. That was it. Alright. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Looking at all the wrong things. Alright. Lake Baikal UFO landing. The records dating back to Soviet times were compiled by a special Navy group collecting reports of unexplained incidents delivered by submarines and military ships. The group was headed by Deputy Navy Admiral Smirnov, and the documents reveal numerous cases of people UFO encounters. Top of the lake is Lake Baikal. Let's try taking this. I'm not even going to read the rest of this. It might be helpful, but doesn't seem it because it's so short. Then let's go into here. 1987. I'm sorry, 1982. Or we could just do UFO. Whoops. Alright, we have a lot of options here, so let's take the first one. Excuse me. The Russian Navy has declassified its records with unidentified flying objects, UFOs. According to a report in Russia Today, the records dating back Russia Today. Okay. Russia Today. Russian Navy declassified UFO reports. Let's see if we can go straight to the source. Russia Today. Assuming RT is Russia Today. Yeah, it looks like this is Russia Today. Russian Navy always block you.
Okay, so this is... Okay. So... Somehow... Yes, Mace, dog.
Aliens. No, not Area 51. This is about Lake Baikal. the 30 million year old lake in Russia, which has dragons and deities and gods and aliens. The usual around here. So, after about 2 minutes of research, I have been able to find the source of apparently all these talks about the declassified things. So, Russia Today claims that the Navy has declassified its records of encounters with unidentified objects technologically surpassing anything humanly built, reports Svobodonia Pressa news website. So, Russia Today is quoting another Russian website. Why is that? Okay. We are not doing that. No, we ain't doing that today. We are sticking with aliens. I will take my aliens. Thank you so much. Anyway. Okay. Svobodonia Pressa news website. Let's look that up right here. That doesn't help. Alright, news website, UFO documents declassified. I have good news and bad news, folks. So the good news is I found the website that... So Russia Today was being quoted, and then they're quoting another website. I found the website that was being quoted as being the one to have been quoted. I can't read a darn thing because I can't read Russian. So... the world may never know if this is truly or not a actually reliable thing. So, who knows? What if the one we call aliens are actually from Earth and we were on Earth after them? That could explain why aliens coming back. It's like visiting your home, or maybe I'm reaching with this one. Haha. You always like, yeah. I'm not gonna say you're not reaching. I'm also not gonna say I've never heard that before, because I've heard the idea that we were the invaders. Which... take that how you will, so. Yeah. I don't know. This is... also, enjoy that Inception for the next, 4 minutes. I apologize. Like I said, phone died, so. Alright. So, I've hit a dead end. No fault of my own. Kinda. If I gave time to learning Russian, it wouldn't be any fault of my own. But I was able to find the source, other than the Russian government. But that's like saying I found the broken body of any mobster who went missing. So, it's not going to happen. So, let's get back to our roots here. Deathception. I can already feel myself starting to slowly put a bow on this, because, it sounds like this is one of those things where you just need to go. It sounds dumb. It does. I think it sounds dumb. But I don't know if I'm going to subscribe to the idea of the dragon. A sea serpent, maybe a sea serpent. UFOs, I'm always open to the idea of UFOs, at the very least, a small amount. To have seen the NASA image of the two circles coming out from the ice was already a big tell to me that this is a bit more than just your usual UFO sighting. But to see that it's been going on for years after the fact, and also we have different areas of the lake dedicated to these UFO sightings. If I ever go research on field about UFOs or aliens, this might be a place that I'm gonna have to consider, because this is extremely interesting. Like I said, the idea of a sea serpent, a sea creature that's like a monster, I don't know. What do you think, Ali? Where are you at right now?
Not gonna lie, I did a little bit of research, and apparently, I'm so convinced that there is something in the history of the Bryant tribe.
Yep. Okay.
Apparently they have the monster called Lusud Khan, which means the master water dragon. So there is something in their culture where there is a master water dragon. So again, there's nothing that we can confirm. So we have the possibility that it might be a dragon that is no longer there, or is in the water that we cannot see, or on top of the mountain, or it can be a base for the UFO like we're stimulating.
Okay.
But nothing can be confirmed until we actually have like actual pictures of the
Yeah.
actual, either the dragon or aliens or
Yeah.
saucers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh. Oh. Yeah. No, I get you. The Byron or the Buryatia or the Buryate people. Their history lines up really weirdly well with the Chinese ideologies of dragons, which already in and of itself could be a whole different discussion of, like, why are they so similar? Did the Chinese end up, like, influencing their beliefs? Or, like, what? There's a lot that could be going on there. But, yeah, it's definitely... It is something to keep in mind. I'll say that much, because my thought immediately is the dragon that the Buryate people think of. Could that be this sea monster? Because we all know, like, the classic Loch Ness monster thing. Like, I'm pretty certain that was confirmed to be fake by, like, the guy who started it alone. But that's not to say there's no such thing as sea monster. It just means the Loch Ness monster is fake. When the Buryate people think of a dragon, I think of, like, the 27-foot sturgeon. I mean, a sturgeon's a regular fish, but you take, like, a goldfish, you make it 27 feet long. That's a monster. I don't care who you are. That thing is huge. So, like, if there can be a 27-foot sturgeon in Russia, I am not opposed whatsoever to the idea that there is a huge... I dropped the coin. That there's a huge creature in Lake, was it Baikal? Baikal. It's been like 20 minutes since I said the name. In Lake Baikal, which just so happens to be near a circular thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's not something I'm opposed to. Exactly. That's the other thing I'm noticing too, Shax, is there's just so many avenues you can go down here. Like, what have we touched? All right, so this is why I love these podcasts so much. I'm so happy I started doing these. We started with a lake that is mysterious, and we've gone down Chinese culture of a people called the Buryate, who go back to like 2000 BC. You have the Russian military, deaths of Navy divers, to humanoids, aliens, alien bases, the oldest lake in the world housing unexplainable creatures, and eyewitnesses going from like 1950 something all the way up to 2004 or 2009. On top of that, we've gone to Russia Today News and some other news that I literally can't guarantee is right or wrong because it's all in Russian. All in a span of basically like nearly 2 hours. It's so cool. I love this podcast so much. Oh, I'm so happy I did it. I don't want to sound egotistical. It's cool. It's cool. You learn a lot. Even without learning a lot, you learn a lot. We learned about Margarita. She has poor choice in fashion, but it was the 90s, so she's forgiven. But yeah, I don't know. These this lake, it has a lot in it. a lot. I just want to do another quick Lake Baikal. Just a quick another generic legends thing. RBT. I've been seeing this website around lately. Oh, I don't like how it's taking a long time to load. That always scares me. The Terrible Dragon. The Russian Empire's gold. Another world in the name. Let's give this a quick read too. I don't know anything about this gold. So, one of the great unsolved historical mysteries: where did the gold reserves of the Russian Empire go after the 1917 revolution? The country was plunged into a civil war between supporters of the Tsarist regime, the White Guards, and supporters of the new regime, the Red Army. Gold was moved farther and farther to Siberia and passed from side to side. When it ended up in the hands of the Bolsheviks in 1919, it turned out that some of the crates contained bricks instead of gold bars. About 180 tons were lost, and some enthusiasts allegedly believe the Russian Empire's gold sank when the train transporting crashed on the Baikal railway along the lake. Of course, the alleged treasure keeps adventurers busy. Several times, mere submersibles have been lowered to the bottom of the Lake Baikal that have found remnants of a century-old boxes, even bars with gold glitter on them. However, these finds were never retrieved because of the shifting ground.
So, yet again, we have the idea that, like, oh, those aliens?
Oh, those, the dragons? The Chinese mythology? The Buddhists? No. This is all about Russian gold from World War I after the Tsar was taken out of power during the Revolutionary War. What is this lake? How did this lake get to become this just pile of legend? Another world. Lake Baikal is the deepest lake in the world, and the locals knew this for even the local scientific research. They believe that there is a bottomless abyss that leads to another open world or ocean to the nether world. It is said to Minecraft. It is said that above this point, a water vortex appears at the surface of the lake, which may have trapped passing boats. It was first possible to calculate a more or less exact depth of the lake in the 1930s that constantly updated. And it turned out that the average depth of the Lake Baikal is 740 meters, but then our local bottom failures, as well as a place with depth of 1,642 meters, and in the very place which was described by legends, the bottomless abyss is at the site of tectonic fault. So now we can go to another world. Now okay, so that one I'm willing to actually pass off as it's the fault lines meeting in the middle, and you just go boop. But it's unbelievable. The more I listen and watch podcasts, the more I'm fascinated by how humans from different places have similar chant. Yeah, exactly, and that's what's so cool too. Is there are so many instances where it's like I can't even think of like how to describe it. It's you see a through line. You know what I mean? Like whether it's religion or culture or what have you, you have a point here and a point here. It may be complex, but eventually here does get to here. It's so like, and it shouldn't. I mean, we're talking about Chinese mythology and Russian lake people mythology coinciding. How? You have Christianity with the Great Flood and the lake people, Great Flood. How? Like, I'm starting to see why on the show Ancient Aliens, they talk about how do we get to shared knowledge. This is knowledge that shouldn't be known. Like, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's my favorite lake too. It's absolutely my favorite lake. This is just, it's unbelievable. It really is. It's like, it's one of those things where it doesn't make sense, but it does. And what's about the name? Scientists are still arguing about the age of Lake Baikal. The main theory is 25 to 35 million years, but some say about 150,000 years and just 8,000 years. And about its origin, whether it was once a volcano or the flow of the mantle core, it is known that people lived around this lake back in the 2nd century BC when they were different peoples, but they called this lake by very similar names. Bay in many languages means great, and Buryat, Baikal Dali means large body of water like a sea. In Yaku, Baikal, Baikal means big, deep water. There is legend that Lake Baikal was formed on the site of a fire-breathing mountain that is a volcano, and its name means standing fire. Like, I don't know. It's something else. It just really is. And we even... Oh, don't forget, we also hit NASA. Don't forget that, too. We had a NASA... We had a NASA image talking about Lake Baikal, too, showing what appeared to be UFOs. So, like... I don't know. We might as well finish out this list. Legend of the Terrible Dragon. Baikal has owned Nessie, and it's a very scary story, actually. There are several descriptions of a water dragon, perhaps because he doesn't need witnesses, that dwells in Makorsky Bay, the warmest part of the lake, and takes fishermen to his underwater kingdom. Some rumors say it is something like a huge sturgeon with an evil face. Others say believe it is a lizard monster with claws and armor along its back, while others believe that this beast looks like an ancient ichthyosaur, the ancestor of crocodiles. To placate the beast in locals offered furs, jewelry, and food to the Baikal beast only several centuries ago. Some even sacrificed blood sacrifices as well. Practice some blood sacrifice as well. By the way, in 1980, Soviet researchers recorded a 30-meter moving object on the lake bed with echolocators, but they failed to clarify exactly what it was. Both Russian and foreign enthusiasts are still trying to find the monster in photos with blurry spots of obscure creatures periodically appear on social media. Maybe it's just a new type of Baikal fauna. And now we get the idea that apparently Soviet researchers recorded a 30-meter moving object on the lake bed. Just to add, because we didn't have enough to think about, right? We didn't have enough to... We didn't have enough. No. Oh. Wow. So overall, I think we're getting near the end of the stream, only because there is more research that you can do into each and every one of these, but there's so much that it's not worth trying to fit into one stream. Definitely one day I will almost certainly be going back to old cryptids and old places. This is like an SCP. This is a real world SCP, man. This is definitely one I'm going to go back to one day. Look at that photo. That's gorgeous. And for now, I think I'm ready to leave it here. Because I feel like we have a pretty good idea of what we're dealing with. Also, this was only on September of this year. So, like, as early as less than a month ago, people are still talking about this. I mean, obviously, I'm talking about now, but I'm talking, like, people are being paid to type out on RussiaBeyond.com that Lake Baikal has a few legends. So, what do you think, Ollie? What are your closing thoughts on this whole ordeal?
I think we should get back to this topic because I feel like we still did have something missing that we didn't really get into. There's a lot of history, a lot of religion, a lot of countries, a lot of creatures included, so yeah.
Definitely one of the things I need to give more credence to next time is, like you were saying, the Buryat, I think it was, people and their religious ideologies and personal beliefs. I mean, they were certainly one of the spearheads on this whole list with their belief of the dragon. And then you also have the other dragon kings along with that, the master dragons, controlling the sea life and other things of the like. And then we did pretty good research on the aliens, and I feel like the dragons we understood. We didn't do a lot of research into the actual evidence of. We understood pretty well. We had the gold. The gold is definitely going to be interesting to look at. Definitely something to look at in the ocean probably as well. And then, I mean, there's just a plethora of other things. We're talking volcanoes. We're talking, like, water floods. We're talking another world, the name. I mean, that's just from this list alone. Each list has, like, different options to choose for. It's amazing. So, yeah. That, I think, is going to wrap up the stream, guys. So enjoy Deathception in a moment here. But thank you all so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I would love to hear what you guys think about this too. If you're watching as a video on demand, let me know what you think. You guys have been killing it, by the way. Killing it on the views. I can't believe how well this series has been doing compared to the old the old series that I was doing. I mean, it does make sense in a way because this is a lot more interesting, I think, than just like Black Ops 3 realistic mode, which I'm still doing. But it's, I don't know, it's cool. It's really cool to do this. Thank you guys for letting me do this. I appreciate Lord Shax always being here, Mazdog always being here. If you're watching this as video on demand, thank you for always being willing to watch, especially if you made it this far. We do this every week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in if you want, or watch the video on demand. I'm trying to make a playlist right now, and I'm trying to organize each video by title and thumbnail and all that. So keep an eye out for those when those are done. I also now start streaming every Monday and Tuesday and possibly Thursday. Halo Master Chief Collection. We're doing a Lasso run. I can't promise every week is going to be that, but roughly that schedule for now. And other than that, thank you, Ellie, for coming. Really appreciate it.
Of course, I'll be here next Wednesday.
And hopefully we'll have Cam Blue back as well. He had something come up, so he wasn't able to make it, but we'll see. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Shax and Maystock, for being in the chat. Thank you all for joining, and thank you for watching the video. Always remember, somebody somewhere loves you, even if they don't know it yet, and I will talk to you guys next time. See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.